I became a co-organizer of 1 Million Cups in June. And I think this is my sink or swim day because no one else is here with me. I had to get the coffee, and I'm also presenting today. So I think this is a true test of my abilities. But I'm really excited to be here with you all. This side is really stacked.
I'm moving, I can't see.
Okay.
Come on over.
So, welcome to 1 Million Cups. We don't have a sign. I don't know if I was supposed to treasure hunt the sign down, but that's okay. I want to thank our sponsors. Old National Bank, thank you so much for your sponsorship that provides us with the ability to buy this amazing coffee from Crescendo, which I think all of us would be less happy people at these things if we were not caffeinated, so thank you. We also have this beautiful space from the library, and we also have Field 59, who videos this awkwardness that I'm doing right now, so that's great.
We'll cut it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, I'm going to be speaking today, but let's go around and do introductions. I'm Leah Rowe. I am the VP of Finance and Operations at Healthfinch. I'm also the founder of Culture Community, and I'm also the co-founder of MAVEN, which I'll be talking about today.
I'm Tom Willis. I'm a software engineering executive, and I also work with intellectual property and patent consulting.
Hi, I'm Chandra Miller-Feenan. I'm with Starting Block Madison, and I just want to make a quick plug, if that's okay.
Please.
As part of Forward Fest, which takes place as a week-long of events from August 17th through the 24th, this year Starting Block is doing something called the Challenge Cup Madison, which takes some of our most promising companies. It's a pitch competition. It's super easy to apply. It's a 2-minute pitch and then 1-minute question and answer. It'll take place on August 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. We still have our application period open, so if anybody knows of companies that might be looking to apply to something like the Challenge Cup, please contact me. It's up on our website. The big news is that the winner of the Madison qualifier goes on to, they get their airfare and their accommodations paid for to compete in New York on the global qualifier. And the global competition has significant cash prizes. So they haven't announced them yet, but it's like in the $50,000 range. So for 3 minutes of work and prep time, you have a chance to win $50,000.
It's a good ROI for you.
So if you have anybody that's in your sphere that might be interested, I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards. So that's my Challenge Cup plug.
Michelle Roach, founder and CEO of Promote Local. We're a marketing agency in town. We dabble with a lot of startups. We've kind of built business plans to do all the branding for startups, so help people like who would pitch here out sometimes. That's it.
I'm Laurel Ghoshrai. I am the Customer Success Manager at Akita Box.
I'm Derek Gebler, CEO and founder of Field 59. Field 59 is an online video platform for media companies, so we provide a YouTube-like experience that's completely seamless to the end customer. So you may be using our stuff and not even know it, but we have customers as far away as Trinidad and Tobago and as far north as Anchorage, Alaska.
Angie Allen, Marketing and Operations at Mobile and Networks.
Brian Davis, I'm actually with the Old National Bank, that's just on the Capitol Square.
Andrew Gonzalez, Old National Bank, Commercial Lending.
Alex Ryan, founder of Prairie Light Solar. It's a renewable energy consulting firm.
Hi, I'm Steve Sladden. I'm a business and technical professional, and I'm here career networking.
I'm Neil Mathwig. I'm a real estate agent and going to be starting a podcast called I Heart Madison.
My name is Trezzy. I'm a software engineering consultant. I help engineering teams with architecture, process, and culture. I'm also starting a podcast called 100 State of Mind. It's the cool thing to do in association with 100 State and Madison Magazine. We're trying to take entrepreneurs, put them in front of the camera with a few other, in front of the microphone with a few other entrepreneurs, have a debate, discussion, get it out there. So if you're interested in something like that, you should let me know.
I'm DP Knutson. My company's name is Collaborator Creative because I collaborate creatively with a wide variety of individuals and businesses on everything from custom writing to full-bore nonfiction branding. And I listen to podcasts.
Good morning. I'm not going to do a podcast, at least not create them. My name is Beth Bowen. I'm the CEO, founder of New World Strategies, LLC. I help people save money and build wealth. And part of the way I do that is with helping small businesses save money on their telecom. So, Beth Bowen.
My name is Diana Pastrana. I'm pretty sure you all know me by now. I'm with M&M Office Interiors.
Morning, I'm Alex Coffin, co-founder of a new software called Wolfflow. It's helping users better manage their daily operations on their desktop and regain time.
Dan Anderson, do you want to go?
That's my name, and I work for Baker Tilly.
Awesome. So, yeah, it's unusual for me to be up here speaking today about a company I'm working on. But a lot of founders and startups right now are on vacation, so we had a little trouble filling the slot this week, but the show must go on. So I don't have a PowerPoint, not super far into this journey yet, but it's picking up and it's pretty exciting, so I'm excited to talk to you all about it today. And also, I have a ton of community asks, so I'm glad the community is here for me. The company that I co-founded a few months ago is called MAVEN, and let me give you a little background of how MAVEN got founded. I am somebody who, I thrive on variety. I need a lot going on in my life at all times in order to feel totally fulfilled. A few months ago, I realized that maybe it was a little unsustainable to do all on my own. As a background of who I am and what I do, I am the VP of Finance and Operations at HealthBinge. We are a startup. I'm also in charge of HR, culture, people ops. So you wear a lot of hats at a startup. No day is the same. You get your hands dirty all the time. So there's a lot going on. In addition to that, I founded a nonprofit in January called Culture Community, which some of you are familiar with. And so we meet up monthly, and then we also have a Slack group. And honestly, that's kind of blowing up bigger than I thought. We have other cities who are interested in making and taking chapters of it. So that's scaling rather quickly. In addition to that, I'm also on the YMCA board. I'm a 1 Million Cups organizer. I had to write it all down because sometimes I forget. I'm on the Doyen Group's membership committee. I'm also a speaker. I speak at different things. Usually I come prepared. I consult with companies. I'm an organizer of various conferences within the Madison area. And also I just really love doing good in the community. I love going to networking events and socializing, and so I'm usually out and about moving and shaking. My goal in life is to make a really big impact on the world. And I realized pretty quickly over the past few months that I can't make the impact that I want to make without help. And just like when you start a company, you do it to make a really big impact, you realize you can't do it alone. You're going to have a bigger impact if you hire employees. So for me, I felt like I needed to hire employees for my life. And so I started looking into virtual assistants and hiring a virtual assistant to help me manage my life. And I was researching on different websites, and I just really couldn't connect to any. You know, there was like, yeah, you could pay $5 an hour. It could be really cheap, and you could, you know, outsource it to India or whatever. But I just didn't feel connected to that. There was other ones where, I don't know, the websites just felt very cold, and I was kind of stuck in this place of needing help, but not really sure what to do. So I was visiting my sister in San Diego. She is a military spouse. Her husband is a Marine pilot. And they're stationed in Miramar right now. So I went to San Diego, I was meeting with her. Whenever I go and visit her, I put my life completely on hold because my complaints of like having so much to do in the community that I don't have time is like nothing compared to the fact that her husband's deployed. She's, you know, when he's not deployed, he's working constantly. So she is telling me, she's like, Leah, I've totally hit my breaking point. She graduated from the University of Virginia. She has her master's degree, but she couldn't hold down a career because they have to move every 2 to 3 years, and they never know where they're moving. It's all dictated by the military. Even when her husband's not deployed, he works, 80 plus hours a week, and so she is effectively a single parent. There's so much change in her kids' lives because they move so often and things like that, that she really wanted to be the constant. So she really took on this role of being a stay-at-home mom. So she was just saying to me, Leah, my kids are getting older. I'm going to want to get back into the workforce. I have no idea who I am. I've totally lost my identity as a woman. I have no career. I don't know what skills I have. I don't even know where to start. And so I said, Anna, I need some help. You're a brilliant, smart woman. Why don't you be my VA? I'll train you. I'll teach you all the technology, the tools, the skills that you need to be effective and successful in the working world. Let's do this for a few years, and when you're ready, like, let's get you whatever job you want to get. So we've been doing that for the past few months, and I really thought it was just a really fun way for me and my sister to work together, me to get some help so I can make a bigger impact in the world, her to have something to do. And you know, the best part about this for me is that she'll call me and be like, Leah, I've found myself again. I dreamed of going to a coffee shop and being on my laptop and like doing actual work. She has her identity, she has independence, she has income, and it's amazing. So, real feel-goody. You know, I'm like, oh, I love helping my sister, this is so great. She started talking to her military friends about what she's doing. All of them, all the military spouses are like, I want to do this. I want to be a MAVEN. Well, we didn't know the word MAVEN yet, but I want to do this too. Like, I want to have a woman that I can help out and she can coach and develop me while I'm helping her make a bigger impact on the world. I started talking to women in my network, professional women, and all of them were saying, oh my gosh, I would love to have somebody take a few hours of work off my plate a week and for it to be, you know, a military spouse that I could help and develop and coach them and really help them have their identity. That just feels great. It would help me, like, all this feels good. So all of a sudden, something that was just me and my sister, I have a supply and a demand. So for me now, I'm like, let's start a business. So we came up, Anna actually, my sister, came up with the word MAVEN, and that's Military Affiliate Virtual Assistant Network. And so then anytime, most of you have scheduled meetings with me, I know DP for sure, I'll respond and I'll be like, absolutely, please work with my MAVEN to get something scheduled, because one of the things she does for me is scheduling. So, very cool, right? So MAVEN was born from that. It's a very women helping women, rising tides raise all ships sort of mission. And so the two problems that I had from the get-go, I'm a finance and operations person, so like obviously like I registered all of our information right away, like took care of all of that. Finance piece is like, fine. So for me, the two biggest issues I had were, one, website. I need to get a website just to start having a landing page for people to go to and be like, what is MAVEN? I need people to start signing up with like, I want to be a MAVEN or I want to have a MAVEN. So that's one problem I'm solving for right now. The second problem that I was like, this is going to be my biggest challenge, I feel like, is how to onboard MAVENs, how to onboard these military spouses to have the skills needed to be an effective virtual assistant, because I've never been a virtual assistant. So I'm teaching Anna what I think she should know, but I don't know necessarily what other people will need. So I've had a huge win in that area recently. I was listening to a podcast, which everyone should listen to. It's called She Did It Her Way. And there was a girl in there, Molly, and she runs a virtual assistant. She is a virtual assistant. She has been for 5 years. She's very successful. And she put together the Virtual Assistant Training Academy. So she just came out with it. It's in beta, but it's like to train virtual assistants how to have their own virtual assistant company. So I emailed her and I was just like, you know what, I feel like I love what you're doing. I would love to see if, you know, your course would be good for onboarding the women that I'm going to be working with. And like I told her a little bit about her story. And she like wrote me back and she's like, Leah, I cannot respond quick enough. She's like, I am also a military spouse. This is so aligned with like what I'm doing and my mission. She's like, let's like definitely talk. So we've been talking every week. She's putting together a whole onboarding system on Teachable that is specific towards MAVENs. And also she is asked to go and speak on bases to talk to military spouses on work that they can do on VA. And she's like, it's so great because all these women get really excited. She's like, but then I have nowhere to usher them into. She's like, I can't handhold all of these people. She's like, so if I have MAVEN, then I can be like, and the first place you need to go is MAVEN. So it's great. I'm meeting people that are like bringing more people into the network. So yeah, so it's been great. So yeah, so that's the story of MAVEN, and then I do have several asks for the community, but I would love to open it up to all of you right now and ask questions. Yes.
Okay, so I love this, but before you really got into the fact that it was for military spouses, my mind was like firing at all of these like highly overqualified stay-at-home moms, like totally don't have the confidence to go out and get a job or can't find it because they need their schedules for their kids. They need to be there when their kids come home from school. Mm-hmm. So have you ever thought about making it more of a public thing? I mean, because there's just these amazing women out there who just aren't working. My sister, like right away, I was like, oh my gosh, the woman's got a master's degree and can't get a job because she needs a flexible schedule. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So have you considered broadening your virtual assistant base?
Yes, definitely. And I was thinking of that in my head as kind of like a phase 2, like starting off with a real niche of like military spouses and like getting our product, if you will, getting our toolkit of what we can do and how we sell and all of that, and branding like who we are, getting that down, and then expanding it to other women who are not military spouses but also have that need of having a very flexible schedule, working on their own time, loss of identity.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely something I've thought about, but I don't know, for me I was like, let's start really niche-y.
Okay.
So.
I think that's really smart because going too broad too fast dilutes everything. You've got a really tight story that has a lot of empathy built right into it. You know, talk about wrapping it in the flag and made in America and all this stuff. You've got an instant audience of people who are going to be positively, emotionally connected to it, and I think you've already seen the results of that. Plus, the military spouse is going to require a different set of tools and understandings. I mean, to be able to go in and say, I understand you're going to be redeployed and they could be across the globe 2 years from now, 6 months from now, 3 months, that's built in, so don't worry about that. That's a discussion you don't have to have with a stay-at-home mom who's in Wanakee and not moving.
I was going to say too, another piece that's come from Anna and from the other military spouses that she's talking with, you know, they meet often, the military spouses, especially when their husbands are deployed, to keep the sense of community. And she's like, you know, especially when our husbands are deployed, that the conversations are very negative. You know, we get together and we just complain about how hard life is, how worried we are, all of this. And she's like, if we could change the conversation, she's like, if we could all bond over something positive that's really bringing us joy and lifting us up, she's like, that could really change our entire realities and outlooks on how hard life really is, like as a single parent while your husband's deployed. But I thought it was very cool too. I didn't even think about that.
I think that's very cool, especially given the fact that there are things military spouses type people could do in multi-level marketing, and whether it's Amway, Nutri-Life, or what any of that crap. And there are a lot of people, especially higher educational attainment people, who are like, I'm not going to do that. So this could be a really positive, self-affirming thing. And especially with that type focus, developing that kind of toolkit, I think is going to be a lot easier, although it's not going to be easy.
So do you match one specific person to another, or do you have kind of like a group of people that take on individual tasks?
Super good question.
Don't know the answer yet? No.
Don't totally know the answer yet. There's only one Maven right now, and that's my sister. So she does whatever I tell her to do. No, just kidding. But yeah, that's a good, the way that I pictured it is, you know, these women getting to choose how many hours that they want to work. And so having like package pricing almost, that's like, I want to do value pricing, but like an estimate of this many hours. So then it's like this should take you about 8 hours to do a month. And then if they're able to get it down in 2 hours, great. They can take on more clients and make more money. So they kind of get to choose how many hours they want to put in, or how much they want to work. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what you all think.
I think you have to feel it out, don't you? I mean, because I imagine some people would love to have an on-call. I want a guaranteed on-call, say it's 15 hours a month, and if I get you on the phone or via Skype or Slack or whatever, I want to be able to touch base with you and say, can you handle this? And other people might be, I have a specific thing that needs to be done every week or every couple weeks or something like that. So it might be a task pricing and a hour bundle pricing, or on call as a product.
I feel like, and I'd be interested in what you all think of, you know, in the beginning, I feel like in the beginning I'm going to have to be very hands-on of talking to the people who have Mavens, mostly, just about what they're looking for and what they want. So starting out kind of boutique-y in a way before I figure out how I can scale it. Because I feel like, you know, it's hard to figure out right now how this would scale when it's like I really don't. I don't have much experience.
How broad of a skill set are you imagining this to be? So, I mean, I'm just trying to think to myself ahead. You've got your sister right now,
Yeah.
but are you going to have, is the idea to have 100 women or 1,000 women and categorize them into, different?
Yeah.
So when you get a client that wants or needs a certain skill set, you go, oh, I've got the perfect group of people for us to look at for that. And then how are those folks paid? Are they
That's what I asked my community.
I guess I'm just wondering, where does it go? And I understand it's in its infantile stage right now.
Sure, but that's a really good question. So one of the things, which is why it was kind of a huge win to meet this woman who's training virtual assistants, was because I didn't know what skills VAs should have, like what skills I need my sister to have for the limited things. I don't know what the market is demanding for VAs to have, so she does. So she sent me a list of all the tasks that she's going to train all of them on. It's using MailChimp, it's using WordPress, it's all of these things that people will need, even just uploading blogs, things like that. So I almost see it in a way of your Maven will come with these skills. If you need her to use a different sort of tool or technology, that's where the relationship of helping coach and develop comes in. You can, if we train them how to use Google Docs or Google Drive, and someone's like, I only use Dropbox, that's totally fine. You just have to coach your Maven on how to use that then.
So do you provide the tools for them, or is it the person who's hiring them as a Maven that's providing them?
So that would be one of the things of being a Maven, is we would cover the cost of this onboarding and these trainings. But if there's anything that you want your Maven to do specifically outside of the realm of what we train them on, then it would be on the person who has the Maven to do it the way that they.
So you're kind of a guaranteed skill set, minimum. They're going to know Office products.
Yeah.
They're going to know, and you could have even specialized ones where this one knows Adobe Creative Suite really well. So if you need basic layout or stuff like that.
Yeah, and I see it almost too as starting out with here's your basic skills, and then working with the Mavens, working with the women to be what are you passionate about? Do you want to do more in the marketing realm? Let's get you trained on that. And so then you become someone that does more marketing focused stuff for.
Well, and I'm sure there are people who are CPAs that can't start a practice because they're going to be moving, but they are CPAs. So wouldn't it be great to be able to tap into a CPA on an hourly basis, or?
Yeah, and what also is interesting is listening to that podcast with the woman that I'm working with to develop this onboarding. She was saying, she's the part that I hate the most about having my own business is the marketing, is the contracting, is the having to get people in the door, is the finances, is finding out what training. It's I'm taking all that off the table. That's why if you're a Maven, the business side of it is taken care of for you. So you can just focus on doing the tasks for the woman you're working with, making money, having your independence, all that, and I'm taking care of all the legal aspects, all of the finance aspects, all of that. But at the same time, I think the goal through all of this would be to get these women into a place where they're so confident and they know that they can do this, that then they want to start their own virtual assistant, be on their own, which is great. And then I can funnel them back through Molly's training program, and she can then do the onboarding of how to actually run your own VA business.
Well, and you can also certify. So they're Maven certified. As the brand grows, people go, oh, that's a different level of virtual assistant. It's a higher quality. It's interesting. You have a product concept, but not necessarily defined products. And the biggest question is, what does your market want to buy?
For your customers.
Mm-hmm.
What do they really need?
I think every VA company has that struggle at the beginning. I've worked with a handful, and we're going to be VAs for an agency, and I talked to the people who started it, and I really confused them because I have an LLC, a company. But I said, well, we do the mid to high level marketing things that you want VAs to do, and they only hire within the United States. They were a startup from San Francisco, and they only hire in the United States, and it's at least $18 an hour, which was decent. But when you're an independent contractor, maybe not. We don't work for that amount, but whatever. But the way that they needed a really high level because of their demand, because of who came to them and wanted their assistance from their brand. So I think you will find that you will start to customize and look for certain people, but I think that there's not a problem with getting a pool of mavens that already know that they have these certain skills and talents, and then building their confidence and skill set, just kind of tweaking, just kind of refining it and getting them ready for the work world again. I think that's going to be what Maven does the most, is that confidence builder. I mean, as a woman speaking about it, it's going to be building their confidence to have the belief that they're going to do a kick-ass job at being a virtual assistant with their skills and talents. That's going to be the big thing. They're going to learn the skills.
Well, I wonder if you identify buckets of tasks, styles, like calendaring and scheduling. That's undoubtedly something people would love to offload. Cold calling, if there are people who have sales backgrounds, who can say, hey, listen, I got 5 hot leads for you to follow up on.
Customer success people, customer support.
Exactly.
Just answering the info at.
So identify that finite number of buckets that you're initially going to go to market with that have been tested with your audience to say, if I could present to you a menu of people who did this, 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 and this, what would you be most interested in?
And I think, so I can say for sure that people we're not going to attract, or the people we'll say no to, will be the ones that want something for very cheap, whenever they want it, and don't want a relationship with this person. It's going to be more, and I understand that this might be not as profitable, but it's going to be more of a relationship building thing. These women are not going to get the confidence that we really is our mission to give them in their identity if they just have somebody sending them one-word emails and not helping develop them. So I do know that's what we're not.
Have you thought about, because I suspect that many of the mavens will not be full-time, or they will have flexible schedules, of pairing them up in a job sharing way so that you can provide broader coverage and a team that works together, so that if something does happen, it's easier to transition somebody back into a team of 2?
I have not thought about that, and that is brilliant. Chandra, you are amazing.
Well, plus you're talking time zone differences, so you may want to be matching people from different coasts, so you're not having somebody else get up at 5 a.m. to cover somebody at 7, at the same time.
Well, the cool thing too is with the time shifting of that, you can have someone in Korea, stationed in Korea, working with someone in San Diego who works during the day, Korea at night, or night here.
Yeah. They may want that.
You wake up in the morning and all the work has been done.
Oh, your emails are so It's the best when all of our sales emails have gone out and I have 10 replies in the inbox at 8 a.m. I'm like, thank you.
Even and I was eavesdropping people's conversations, I know what you were saying about following up on business cards, that's something that could be very easy of sending pictures of these are the people I want to have meetings with to your Maven, and then she's in charge of going out and scheduling,
Are there, what kind of competition is out there? I'm not trying to indicate that I feel like it's a temp, a higher level temp agency, but what are the differences between what virtual assistants through a temp agency or administrative folks through a temp agency are as compared to this idea, although I know it's geared a little bit more towards one specific group of individuals in the beginning?
Yeah, no, that's a fair question. I think I'd need to do a little more digging in competition. I definitely looked up other VA firms, found other ones that are geared towards military spouses, but the ones that I found for military spouses, it requires them to pay to be a member, and whereas our model would be very different of they're not gonna have to pay into anything. We're going to take care of them, we're going to develop them. That's another piece that I don't see on the websites, is actually getting them developed in the skills. It's here's the skills that you should go out and learn, here's some places to learn them. But yeah, I don't know about temp agencies. I would have to look into that.
Leah, did you ever meet Maddie, who's come to these meetings? Madeline? She has her firm's called Chief of Staff, I think.
Oh, I do know that company. Yeah.
There's some experience locally. I mean, that's a more focused position, I think. But she was attempting to find people around the country, though, that would be able to be a chief of staff.
Yeah, and I see this so much more as really focusing on collaboration as opposed to competition. So working with somebody like that, I know that her people are very high level, high skilled, but working with her, or like working with other companies like that, so when they go in and they're like, you know what, and you could also use a MAVEN. Or I thought about big picture, like, oh, that'd be awesome if companies had like a MAVEN program for companies. You know, it'd be a very feel good for your employees to have someone to help them do a couple or a few hours worth of tasks every week, but also they're helping to develop this woman and give her an identity and things like that. So I really have been trying to think more of how I can collaborate with different companies. And then also I think that I want to have something too. So has anyone heard of Mighty Networks? Has anyone looked at that? It's like Slack, but I honestly think it might be better. So I am doing some research on that right now. But having it be where even if you are a military spouse who is a virtual assistant, or you have your own social media company or whatever, because there are a lot of those out there, still being able to be part of the MAVEN community, and give back in that way. Because any of those women that I've talked to that have their own, are consultants already, that are military spouses, like are looking for ways to give back to their other military spouses, and so this could be a way to also be a part. So I don't know, I'm toying around with like, I don't know, a price per month to be a part of like I don't know, for like those established women. Or if like MAVENs graduate and they start their own companies, to still be able to be a part of the MAVEN network.
So are you looking for your end user to be like an independent contractor, a CEO? I mean, like, are you looking at, are you going to actually try to keep it to women end users? I mean, is that a necessary distinction?
That's a really good question, and one that I toy around with a lot. I just feel like, again, niche-y and like where I can start with. I can sell this really easily to women right now, just to be totally honest. Mm-hmm. When I talk to some of my male friends about it, their first question is, well, why wouldn't I just offshore it for $5 an hour? So it's an easier sell to women because they're like, I want to develop that relationship. I want to help that woman find her identity. I totally relate in that way. I felt lost at this point in my life when I had to stay at home with my kids or things like that.
It's more of a relationship than a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from a man, I would pay way more, 3 times more to hire a MAVEN than I would offshoring it.
That's amazing. So maybe I just have horrible guy friends.
I'm begging you to open it up to somebody else.
Okay, that's awesome. That's really good to know.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the nonprofit space, but if you went in that direction for forming a company underneath that, is there benefits you can give so that someone might pay more out of pocket to help pay the MAVEN, but they also get the benefit back from the nonprofit?
Such a good question. So I registered us as an LLC, but I was thinking about that this week. I was like, should we be a nonprofit or should we be a B Corp? Like, does that do anything different for people? Because honestly, like, the finance person in me is like kicking myself. I'm not doing this to make money. You know, I'm really doing this for impact. I'm doing this for a mission. I'm doing this, you know, Ann and I talk about all the time, if we can help one other woman make a bigger impact, and if we can help one other military spouse to find her identity, we win. I don't care how much money I put into this, if that's what we do, like, we win. So having that,
you probably incorporate it properly. I mean, there's ways to do hybrid models, but stay as an LLC rather than as a nonprofit, because you have a revenue model.
Yeah.
And I think that's right. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch of unearned business income, and it's going to be more complicated if you were a nonprofit. Maybe a B Corp, but it depends on where you want to be, because Wisconsin doesn't have that.
Right. That's true.
But you might want to like think about partnering like with Bunker Labs, because they're already in multiple cities, and so they have the entrepreneurs that have a military background, and I think that might be a nice complementary.
I don't know how I just heard about them 2 weeks ago, but I did, and I was like, what? Yeah. So yeah, I really need to talk to them.
Talk to Michael.
Okay. Can you introduce me?
I certainly can.
Thank you. Look at this community coming together. So yeah.
Well, I think your question about the corporate entity thing has a psychological side to it too, which is charity versus business. If it is a charity, then people tend to engage with it differently than, no, it's a business. I require things of you as a business, and part of that feel good that people develop with their personality and their self-esteem is that I'm working for a business. This is not a charity.
Yeah.
We hear that all the time, right? That the charity doesn't get the same esteem boost to the recipient as someone who's working for a business. So just from a branding point of view, my bias is to lean toward keep it business.
Yeah, well, that's a good point too, because we've been thinking about like I don't know, I hate when I speak like for Anna or military spouses because I have truly no idea, but thinking it for them too, it's like they're actually working for a business, like they're a businesswoman. It's not a charity case. It is, I am employed, I am working, which is another community ask. And I need to talk to an attorney, but like employee versus independent contractor, like what should these mavens be?
I think they have to be independent contractors.
I think so too.
The nice thing about that is the health insurance and all the benefits there are already taken care of on the military side.
My sister pointed that out. She was like, none of us need insurance.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but the question is, are they 1099 independent contractors of the person that they're working for, or are they mavens independent contractors?
I think they would be our independent contractors.
I think.
Have you talked to the Law Entrepreneur Clinic? They can answer
No, I
that question
haven't.
for you.
Do you have a contact there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you introduce me?
You don't know Ann Smith?
No.
Okay.
Chandra, take notes of all the people you have to send.
Do you know Jeff Glazer?
I do, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's the guy to talk to too there.
He's the guy I talk to about beer law all the time, because it's fascinating.
He does know a lot about beer law.
And his wife Erin is on the IP side of law. So.
Yeah, that's true. I should talk to them.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure they would talk to me. I just have to buy them craft beer. It'd be a good exchange.
I was with him last night.
I think too, like, I'm a real estate agent, and I also I coach real estate agents across the country, and I have a network of about 2,000 across the country, and we talk about virtual assistants all the time in our groups of where do we go? Like as a realtor, as your business is growing, you need help so bad, but you can't afford it, or you can afford it, but you can't afford a full-time person, and we've been burnt so many times by virtual assistants across, like on the other side, like just not knowing where to go. And I could see my tribe just being all over this, because I know, like I advocate for military, for VA, because a lot of times if in a market where there's a lot of competition, an offer will come in with a VA loan on it, and most people will go with an offer that doesn't have a VA because there's all these hoops you have to jump through on a VA, where I'm like, the VA should go to the top because it's military. And I talk about that on my podcast and in my group, and I have other agents across the country practicing the same thing. So there's like this heart for military that I can just see the real estate world just eating this up.
And I think it's so interesting. I didn't know really much about the other side of the military life, like being a spouse, until Anna married into it. And it's literally a family sacrifice. Like, it's not just the men and women who are fighting overseas, it is their families. They sacrifice a lot. So it's, being able to tell that story and being able to help, I think is so important, because it's, the men and women that are fighting, they have to be focused, they have to know that their family is also doing well, I think would be so powerful.
Well, part of your message is the thank you for your service only goes so far. How about putting some ducats on the line to support the families that are all giving? And the whole military relo community realty has a natural affinity for it because military families are constantly relocating.
Yes.
And there, I know realtors with the designations on military relo professional or whatever it is.
Yeah, like the USAA community and just being an affiliate of that. I mean, it's like I don't know. I mean, we just work with the military so much, and I also see a lot of military becoming realtors after they are no longer active. And I could see them, like, after they settle down, if one of them are working, if a Maven's working with a realtor, and they get all this experience, and then once they do settle down and pick a city, then they become a realtor.
Well, or it becomes a work to hire, essentially, that you work 3 years with someone, you love them, you get them to relo after they leave the service to where you are, and they have a job.
Yeah.
Which is a huge, cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys should beta test or have a focus group with some of your tribe guys, and talk through it and say, what do you guys need? What would you want are you warm to the idea? How?
Yep, you'll be on.
What would you pay for it?
So it seems like you really want the relationship building.
Yes.
Part of this. Like
Yeah.
you want to be establishing a long-term relationship with somebody you're going to work with for years.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Well, the fact is, with anybody who you want to work with closely, you develop a vocabulary, a shorthand vocabulary, a kind of, I know what you're thinking before you think it-ness. You don't get that with someone who, here, scan my business cards. I went to a trade show. Here's 500 business cards. Please scan them for me.
Right.
There's a lot of independent contractors out there that make their living based on good quality, controlled customer service. Realtors, financial advisors, these people, you know, are trying to build out a business and support themselves and still have a life, and they're earning more than $20 an hour themselves, but they're doing tasks at $20 an hour, you know, rates, right? So I think there's a lot of people that would focus on, I want one MAVEN because I can trust her. You know, like having that trust with a virtual assistant isn't something you get while offshoring, and I think that's your value. And to say, my customers are going to know her. They're not necessarily going to know she lives in Virginia or, you know, wherever, but she's part of my team then, and that's valuable.
Yeah, and if you've got MAVEN support groups at bases around the globe, you get transferred, you instantly have a tribe that speaks your language, knows the support mechanisms and all that stuff, so you're creating this network. Yeah, it's totally self-recruiting, but also self-supporting, so that you move from a base in the States to one in Korea. You've instantly got a posse that understand the gig.
Yeah, and I can't stress enough how important I think it is that I met this other woman who's been a VA, a military spouse VA, for 5 years, because like the onboarding piece of it and working with the MAVENs, like she can tell the story. Like she's a success story. You know, she's an inspiration that like I was able to do this, and now you don't have to go through the 5 years of figuring it out that I did. I'm going to help you, and MAVEN's got your back like to do this.
It's very cool.
Well, not to mention a big part of your goal is to support these women, so there's probably a huge piece of continuing education you can offer them through webinars and whatnot, where they're developing their skills, you're bringing in experts from all over the place, so these people are really becoming more employable the longer they're with you,
well, and I think
instead of less because of their moves.
And I think you brought up a really good point, because it's not just skills that we're going to teach. We're going to have a lot of, you know, life coaching speakers or on building this confidence, claiming your identity, all of that stuff, because it's not just them building skills, it's really more about building the confidence.
And how cool would it be to have that webinar scheduled so everybody around the globe could convene digitally at the same time and make acquaintance and, you know, share values and all that stuff. It's totally cool.
I think too, I just see like the MAVEN tribe, like a private Facebook group that you have a show once a week where you have guests on that are, you know, military moms, and how they've, like, just inspirational stuff that isn't just all this, because when they get together it's so negative, and what if we can turn that around, you know?
You know, and I also think I'm just going to start a podcast. It's the cool thing to do.
It is.
All right, we are out of time. Thank you, everyone. This was so good. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming.